Hi, thank you very much for for taking the time out here and just connecting with us. But I am curious as to why, because if NFAC is all about black people, white people can't be part of it. What do you need from white people? What is the impact of this conversation right now?
That's
white audience.
Well, thank you. That's a great question because we never asked white people for anything. There aren't any demands on the table. We haven't issued a manifesto, not one time. Anytime I've spoken publicly, have I asked the white society to do anything. As I said at the beginning of this conversation, this is an exercise by, for, and about black people because we have some internal housekeeping to do. And that is what we're doing here. Everyone standing on the outside who thinks that they're a customer to the process or thinks that they have some input into it is finding out the hard way. Not this time, folks. I'm sorry. The balcony is closed.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mark. We're gonna have a hard stop at 10 o'clock, so I'm gonna ask people to now limit to one question. Katha, you're up, and I appreciate your questions. You're coming out of Queens, New York. Oh, you're muted, Katha. Your computer's muted. Right now. No, can't hear you. I had you unmuted, but... So I'm going to jump, fix it. I'll come back to you. Just wave to me when you think you got it. Power Malu, are you ready?
Yeah.
Power Malu is an activist out of New York. Has been doing a lot of work right out there in the streets. Welcome, Power. Go ahead.
Peace. Galinsky, you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Peace, Brother Grandmaster J. My name is Power Malu. I'm part of the New York City organizers. It's a bunch of young people. Youngest is 16 years old. We've been protesting in New York City since May 29th. Recently, in July 7th, we were attacked by a vehicle driven by the MTA, by two MTA employees near Times Square, where they attempted to run over our protesters, crushing bikes. And it happened again last week in Times Square again. This time it was Trump antagonizers. They were clearly wearing Trump paraphernalia, and they came purposely to our march protest where we were bringing attention to, again, recent murders that have been happening, this one particularly from Rochester, New York. And the police, once again, Times Square is packed with police, and in both instances, they actually were seen during the MTA attack. They took their time. We had to get the bikers to come and let them know what happened. Mm-hmm. They released these guys without anything happening. We've been protesting in front of the MTA. Their excuse to us was that the driver and his son were not on duty. They were wearing MTA uniforms, however. That case, we're still pushing to get some type of restorative justice there. We don't advocate putting anyone in prison. We actually advocate for restorative justice because we are against the police and the punitive system that exists right now. The case last week with these Trump supporters, same situation. There were hundreds of police officers there at Times Square. They were seen actually escorting, putting the Trump supporters in their vehicles and allowed them to once again plow through our line of bikes that are used to protect the protesters.
Malu, respectfully, I got to ask you to ask the question.
So my question to you, Grandmaster J, is in this situation, what would you recommend our protesters to do? We continue to be on the streets. We're not going to be intimidated. But in New York City, this is a situation that's been going on, and clearly the NYPD endorsed Trump, and this type of behavior is going to escalate. So just asking from your perspective.
Yeah, two things. And I'm glad. Thanks for your question, my brother. And I continue. Y'all stay out there. Y'all stay on the front lines. Y'all keep on doing what you're doing. You keep on putting the pressure on. You keep on being a thorn in their side. Don't let them get comfortable. But what I would say to you is places like New York, the state of California, places where they have systematically robbed people of the ability to arm themselves. They have the strictest gun laws, so you can't get a weapon, but yet the police have weapons automatically. So of course you're not going to be able to have an armed resistance like you would have if the NFAC, let's say per se, was to come to your city. States like that, like California, which of course you cannot open carry ever since the Panthers went to the State House, you know, they twisted the laws to take the teeth out of the people. So what I would say to those individuals who find themselves in those environments that still are practicing their constitutional right to peacefully assemble and to bring grievances, that you need to prepare yourself at some point. I don't know if you can read between the lines that you can't have a gun, but a gun is not the only weapon. You understand what I'm saying to you? You can organize yourselves in such a way that you can have a resistance. I don't care if it's the baseball bat committee. If you're organized and you put a show of force, you'll find out that the police everywhere. See, the police aren't stupid. If you notice anything about the NFAC, we never have problems with the police because we're an organized resistance. We're not an unruly mob. You can still have your unruly mob over here, but you got to have your organized resistance over here. And if the only thing that's stopping you from being able to defend yourself is whether or not you can have a gun, well, look at what you're saying. They hitting y'all with cars, rubber bullets, and all types of inanimate objects. Well, you got inanimate objects too, and you have a right to defend yourself. It's not something that someone gives to you. Y'all have the right, especially young folks. Young folks are the ones that are out there with the energy talking about, I'm not having it no more. But what happens is the system is set up that if you make a mistake, they rob you of your ability to arm yourself later. They call you a felon right now. You can't get a gun later when you need one. But if you're going to go out there, I'm letting y'all know, and I'm not telling you what to do, but if it was me and my crew and we couldn't hold guns, well, there's all types of other things that we can use to defend ourselves, not offend. See, there's a difference between protesting and rioting. Rioting is an unruly destruction of property with no purpose, no goal. Let's just do it. That's a riot. A protest has a message. A protest has something that you're trying to get. If y'all been out there all those days, what are you out there for? You have to have a goal. Just like when we went into Louisville, it is to get a verdict. It was to get transparency into Breonna Taylor. It wasn't to make everybody feel good and wrap it all up. No, people still gonna keep protesting because they in their emotions. They should. You should too. But when the police or the people start aggressing you like that, you got to use your head and say, okay, how can I aggress them back? If you can't aggress them physically, aggress them in their wallet. If you can't aggress them in their wallet, aggress them in their level of comfortability of what they doing. If you can't aggress them there, then damn it, just be a nuisance any way you can by blowing up phones and doing all kind of crazy stuff. But what you don't want to do is put yourself in a position where you keep bringing a knife to a gunfight, or you bring up nothing to a gunfight. You don't keep going to the gunfight. You change the type of fight it is. I hope I've answered your question, my brother.
Sure did. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Malu.
Peace and love.
Thank you.
They're getting a private fucking ride, yo! They're getting fucking police. Yo, look at the escort, baby! That's amazing! They got a black car! They got a black car, baby!